Welcome into another edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. I'm Chris Yow, joined as always by Mo Patton, and we are live from Trevecca Nazarene University.
The Moore Gym.
The Moore Gymnasium. Glad to have you guys with us, and thank you to our hosts here at Trevecca, Greg Ruff and the fine folks here. Lawson Smith, former intern too, helping us out, doing his work while also hanging out and hanging on. So should be a lot of fun if we can find a way to put a headset on him at some point. It is Wild and Wacky Wednesday, and that if there was anything Lawson was good at, it was finding Wild and Wacky Wednesday stories. So
I think he's got his laptop open over there. I think he's probably looking for a Subway story
as we speak. No question there. We got a great show lined up for you. We've got a lot coming your way. Heather Williams joins us at 2:20 as she always does to talk NASCAR. We've got brand new Trevecca men's basketball coach Kevin Carroll is going to join us at 2:40 right here on the set. And we're also, that's right, we've got a chair and everything for him and a headset. So
and a headset.
There you go. And we'll also talk with Landon SECREST and talk a little NBA draft.
That's tomorrow, right?
It is tomorrow. Brendan Miller's out here making statements, and so I'm excited to talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you can set yourself apart.
Well, and youth is wasted on the young.
There is that. So it's going to be a great show. We are looking very much forward to it. We have a lot to get to today. And, of course, the weirdest and wildest news from across the world will come your way in the final segment of the day. Yesterday, a lot of games played. Today, several games scheduled. So we'll tell you what those are and were on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Major League Baseball action from Tuesday night. St. Louis with a 9-3 victory over Washington. Are these yesterday's?
Mm-hmm.
Not Mondays?
Yeah, these are yesterday.
These are yesterday. Okay. All right. St. Louis 9-3 over Washington. Chicago Cubs blanked Pittsburgh 4-0. Cincinnati with an 8-6 win over Colorado. Milwaukee defeated Arizona 7-5. The Astros with a 4-2 win over the New York Mets. The Giants defeated San Diego 4-3. And in Philadelphia, the host Phillies go down in the opening game of a 3-game series to visiting Atlanta 4-2. College baseball elimination day in Omaha as Texas Christian defeated Oral Roberts 6-1 and LSU blanked Tennessee 5-0.
WNBA action last night. Dallas Wings 85-73 winners over Atlanta. It was Minnesota 67 and LA Sparks 61. The Connecticut Sun 85-79 winners over the Seattle Storm. Today in Major League Baseball action, we give you some scores. It's the Cubs currently 8-3 over the Pirates. And that's in the top of the ninth. In the fourth inning, the Diamondbacks and Brewers are scoreless. In the bottom of the second, it's Mets 3, Astros 2. Astros with 2 on and 2 out in the bottom of the second. And a final from Cincinnati, the Reds 5, Rockies 3. Later on today at 3 o'clock or 3:05, you can catch the Cardinals at the Nationals. At 5:40, it's the Braves at the Phillies. And at 8:45 tonight, the Padres are at San Francisco taking on the Giants. Norfolk Tides are back at First Horizon Park for a 6:35 first pitch tonight. Go check them out.
College baseball action today. Texas Christian and Florida are playing, and I was hoping to get a score.
2-1.
2-1
Florida, top 4.
2-1 Florida, top 4. At 6 o'clock tonight, it's LSU and Wake Forest. TCU has to win twice. LSU has to win twice. That LSU Wake Forest game again, 6 o'clock, can be seen on ESPN as you can TCU and Florida right now. WNBA action here at the bottom of the hour. Las Vegas and Phoenix playing in Phoenix. That's a 2:30 tip again on NBA TV. And in Major League Soccer, the Nashville Soccer Club goes for its 11th consecutive non-loss when they travel to Montreal for a 6:30 first touch. And that is your rundown.
Mo, today's top story is brought to you, as it is each and every day, by our friends at Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill Shopping Center in Columbia. Make sure to go see Jody Shaw and the fine folks at Piggly Wiggly. They are hand-cutting meats every day. They're making delicious deli meals, hot plates, meat and 3 vegetables. However you want to get it. It is delicious each and every day, so make sure to check out their. If you look at their Facebook page, you can see what the menu is typically on a daily basis, so you can get, know what you want to get before you get there. Kind of like if we go to Nikki's West in Birmingham, you better know what you want before you get to the line, or it's going to be over for you. You'll get they'll send you so fast to the end, you won't have anything on your plate. Let's go. You don't want to meet. You must not want nothing. You don't know what it is. Let's go. I don't think they're going to do that to you at Piggly Wiggly, but
they might.
You do have the ability to know what you want before you go. So definitely do that. Top story today, just about an hour and a half ago. NCAA has announced a 3-game suspension for University of Memphis head basketball coach Anthony Penny Hardaway. And I think this is interesting because not only is it for recruiting violations, but also violating head coach responsibility rules. And so this has sent him to the locker room for the first 3 contests.
Violating head coach responsibility rules.
He has sponsorabilities, and he violated those rules.
An infractions panel, reading from ESPN.com. An infractions panel announced Wednesday that the violations are tied to 2 in-home visits in 2021 with a recruit from the high school class of 2023 who was referred to by the NCAA as a, quote, highly rated men's basketball prospect. Well, who else would Penny be recruiting? Other than a highly rated men's basketball prospect.
Yeah.
In September of the recruit's junior year of high school, a Memphis assistant coach conducted an in-home visit with the prospect. 2 weeks later, Hardaway also held an in-home visit with the recruit. According to NCAA rules, coaches can only have in-person contact with high school juniors at the prospect school. I did not know that.
And neither did Penny.
Well, apparently, ignorance of the rule is not a defense in the NCAA nor in actual legal situations. But the NCAA penalized Hardaway because of his involvement in the violation, as well as his failure to monitor his assistant coach's violation and failure to notify the school's compliance department before the visit.
You know, how is that like? This is a problem. This is the compliance department should have access to your schedule. So
Theoretically,
I mean, to me, it just seems like that would solve a lot of issues here.
well, coach, hold up. You're going to do what?
Like, hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but listen, hey, you can go visit him, but you got to go see him at school.
At school, not at the house. No. If he wasn't at school that day, sorry.
So
the Division I Committee on Infractions panel classified the violations as level 2 mitigated, which resulted in a 3-game suspension. Hardaway, a former Memphis and NBA star, previously told the NCAA he was unaware of the rule. Ignorance of the rules is not an excuse, the panel said in its decision. The head coach's inattentiveness to compliance, particularly at a time when his program was under scrutiny related to a different infractions case, looking at you, James Wiseman, resulted in careless violations. Head coaches must remain diligent in monitoring their staff and promoting compliance at all times and cannot delegate those responsibilities to compliant staff members and administrators.
Remember,
the buck stops here.
It don't get no bigger than the man who signs your paycheck. And in the basketball program, Penny Hardaway would be the paycheck signer
for everybody else.
So if you don't do your job, Penny, then it comes back on you.
Yeah.
Now, unless your name is, Coach Person at Auburn. Then the buck stops with you, apparently.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the buck stops where it stops, right? Yeah.
So, but this is interesting. I mean, Memphis had already been, dealing with the violations, like you said, in regards to James Wiseman. I don't think this is it's just interesting to me that, they're dealing with these types of issues after getting rid of a coach that never had to deal with these type of issues. I'm just saying. Look,
I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Yep.
You went from. This is kind of like going from Rush Probst to Josh Niblett if you're Hoover High School kind of thing. And you don't go out and hire, Rush Probst Jr., whomever that may be, or Rush Probst Light if you're coming out of Josh Niblett. You just don't do that. You got to stay on the straight and narrow for a while.
Theoretical.
And from Calipari to Tubby, you kind of should have just rode that on out a little bit.
Yeah, but it kind of reminds me of the spoken portion of Proud Mary. We don't do anything
nice
and easy.
And that's the thing about Memphis is here. You're talking about a program who really cares a lot about its basketball program, and they put a lot of time, effort, and stock into that program.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like that's their bell cow.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps, they subscribe to the Eddie Guerrero line of thinking. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
I don't know if they subscribe to if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I do think they subscribe to whatever it takes.
Absolutely.
And if that includes cheating, then hey, we ain't above bending a rule
by any means necessary type thing. And look, this is a low level violation.
This
is not a big deal. It's only a big deal because of the Wiseman situation, and that's what they say here in the story.
And the reality of it is a 3-game suspension to start the season. Let's pull up Memphis's 23-24 schedule real quick and see
The
just
only
who
thing-
that's involved.
Well, the only thing that matters is if they're in one of those, tournaments.
It wouldn't be that early.
So are we talking about, do exhibitions count?
I would think they're regular season, but it doesn't necessarily specify.
And the 2023-24 schedule is not out.
Oh. Well,
Guess what? Those games, Rust College, Rhodes, and Trevecca, maybe.
yeah,
Maybe.
they might should have waited till after the schedule was announced before they announced this. Yeah. I mean, Lemoyne, Owen, Lambeth, which doesn't exist.
Right. I mean, it will be the lowest denominator possible. We'll have to get Coach Carroll to comment on whether or not that he's received a phone call from Penny Hardaway at this point.
To play early, Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First, second, third game ish.
Yeah,
Somewhere in that
roughly. Yeah.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah. Note to NCAA.
Make sure the schedules are perhaps maybe first 3 conference games next time, something like that. No, that's
First 3 games against Power 5 competition. Something. Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Anything. But yeah. All right. Now that we that's fantastic. Oh man. Before we get out of here, Mo, let's talk a little bit about yesterday. Obviously, Tennessee and LSU in an elimination game last night, and you got to just tip your hat to LSU. They did what was necessary, but the fact is Tennessee did everything it could to not help itself.
I didn't get to see a lot of the game, unfortunately. Jody and I were at a function, and so all I could see was LSU scoring single runs and Tennessee not.
Well, I mean, it was 2-0 forever, and then I think they scored their last 3 in the 8th and 9th innings.
Right.
So Drew Beam had a great night. The offense just couldn't come through. The bats went cold. Obviously when LSU announced, the starting pitcher, you thought, okay, Tennessee ought to, hit this guy pretty well, and they did not in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And even when they did, they couldn't get the timely hit. Second, runners on second and third, but there were 2 outs, and then, bases loaded, but 2 outs, and just couldn't get the hit to bring anybody across home plate. And that was the difference in the game. I mean, the fact that they just could not get the timely hit.
Yeah.
A play at the plate. We've got an out that would have tied the game on a tough break there for the Horned Frogs.
That's unfortunate.
But yeah, Tennessee just couldn't get the timely hit, man.
And the last out of the game, if you notice, was a oppo fly ball to the track from Columbia Academy redshirt freshman Tavares Tears.
Just about sent one. Just about sent it. And boy, wouldn't that have been at least something cool.
Oh my goodness, that would have been fantastic. Yeah.
But track power at Omaha is a home run almost anywhere else in the country.
Probably a home run in
It
his
was
home
definitely
stadium.
at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. It's a home run. There's no question there.
So, and as we've talked to other UT folks over the course of this season, I think that was the only AB that KT got in Omaha, but I believe they're really enthused about him going forward.
It would be hard to not be with the way that he performed even in spot situations.
Mhm.
So I feel like this is this was a positive early for Tavares Tears and a good experience for him.
Yeah.
And the question is, just like Joe Rexroad asked, you've been to Omaha twice in 3 years. The fact that you feel disappointed that you didn't make the Final Four in Omaha says a lot more about your program than the fact that you lost in Omaha.
Yeah, I mean, this program has created expectations over the last 3 years under Tony Vitello. Went to the World Series 2 years ago, went 2-0, got knocked out on its home field in the Super Regionals last year. Managed to regroup from a 5-10 start to get back out there this time around. I mean, this program has created expectations. And again, as the great Arkansas men's basketball coach Nolan Richardson used to say, once you create the monster, you got to feed it. Somebody said Tony Vitello's got to go get some dudes. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. I just think that the dudes that they have got to perform
at that level. Yeah.
And because if you're telling me that I lost his name, the kid from Station Camp.
Burns.
Yes. If you're telling me Burns ain't a dude, then I can't help you.
Yeah, I think they're more worried offensively. I still think. I mean, you've got a lot of guys on this pitching staff coming back next year that are going to be really.
Well, you got a lot of these bats coming back.
That's the thing. You're going to have one of the best pitching staffs, and now that offense that was really young this year is experienced. They've got Omaha experience. You feel like this next year's team should be equal to or better than this year's team. And even though this one overperformed, I think, to a degree, finishing, either 5th or 6th in the country, I feel like, a lot of folks are going to put some expectations on this team, and I don't know if that's good, bad, or ugly, but we'll find out.
Maybe it's when this team has expectations on it that maybe they are not as well off. I mean, again, 2 years ago, or in 2022, they were number 1 all year. They got beat by Notre Dame in the Super Regionals.
Right.
Maybe they kind of need a little bit of that.
They need that edge chip type thing.
I don't know if it's an element of surprise. I don't know if it's an us against the world. I don't know what it is.
Well, it ought to be us against the world no matter what, because everybody hates them, win or lose.
Isn't that something?
Not really. I mean, I understand the hate from outside Tennessee last year due to the dad he had and the flip-offs and all that. I mean, look, I liked it. I like it anywhere. I like it in any time, in any level of baseball.
I mean, is it something that no one else was doing? Really?
I think to that level, yeah. They took it to the extra step, and that's, look, I'm fine with it. Don't get me wrong. I'm fine with it. I think college baseball needs it. I think it's enjoyable.
I think that there are objective college baseball followers that would tell you that Tennessee 2022 was good for college baseball. The energy that they brought.
I think so too.
I think I truly believe that, and I think that people that won't admit it either won't admit it or got beat by them.
There you go.
So
let's take a break. Heather Williams standing by here, and we'll come back to Trevecca, and we'll talk NASCAR with Heather Williams of WCYB right after this on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow and Mo Patton here with you on this Wild and Wacky Wednesday. The weirdest and wildest news from across the world coming your way later on with former intern 2 Lawson Smith joining us. Can't wait for that. But now we go to our favorite NASCAR
See, you digging a hole.
host.
You are digging a hole.
I know. Does
I'm
Bernie know you're saying this?
Don't, yeah, I'm sure Crush Boy is watching and I'm in trouble. But
Still,
listen, next time he's on, he'll be our favorite.
you're nothing if not fickle, right?
Sorry, Heather.
Favorite today,
favorite when
not
you're
so
here.
favorite tomorrow. I get it.
Well, I mean, as we like to say, Heather, the best ability is availability.
Yeah, I get it. Life. Como si, como sa.
No, Heather,
But is he in Charlotte right now for a big announcement that affects Nashville?
uh-oh.
Yeah, let's talk about that announcement. Huge news out of Stewart Haas Racing, but the worst kept secret in all of NASCAR.
For sure. Hendersonville native Josh Berry is going to drive the 4 car next year, taking over for Kevin Harvick. And if people don't know the story behind Josh, it would be worth your while to kind of look it up. I'll give you the Reader's Digest version, but he's running at the fairgrounds. He's running some iRacing. He reaches out to Dale Jr. on iRacing and is like, will you take a look at my in-car camera? Dale says, yeah. One thing leads to another. All of a sudden, he's living with Dale's mother in Charlotte, running late models for Dale Jr., and then he starts running Xfinity Series races, wins a race, starts filling in for Hendrick Motorsports, and today now is announced as a new driver for the number 4 car. And he's an older driver to be his first crack at Cup. So, I mean, just really a great story of perseverance and going after what you want.
Well, one of my favorite quotes from Tony today was talking about how he didn't want to have a pay driver. So, and a lot of folks talking about that today, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on, what it means for, NASCAR to obviously be looking more at talent versus, what someone can contribute, monetarily to a program.
Well, not just NASCAR, but the average fan, you and me, everybody. I mean, it gives us hope, right? I mean, so many people, whether you work in TV and people talk about, oh, it's who you know, not what you know, or radio, same thing, or you're, the person selling houses trying to get in to make the big sale. I mean, the fact that you can make it just on your hard work and your effort and not your connections and your money, it gives hope to everyone, right? And Josh's story is that, American dream realized type stories. So, I mean, yeah, it's great for him and it's great for the sport.
Heather Williams here with us on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Heather, obviously this is a huge week. It's Ally 400 week. It's night race in Nashville. what went into the decision of making it a night race?
I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing the combination of how hot it can be this time of year in Nashville, along with the fact that last year's race accidentally ended up being raced under the bright lights, and it was such a good race and such a success that they decided just to put it on the schedule at night would be my guess. I hadn't really heard anything tell, but I mean, I think that the temperatures in Nashville potentially in June, although not this year, because I guess summer just isn't a thing anymore. But I think that's had a lot to do with it.
Heat and concrete don't mix
Not
very
well.
well, especially if you only have a certain amount of tires you can use. So
Right.
that makes a lot of sense. And you know, and one of the big issues, of course, is this the first year that SMI? This is the first SMI led race,
they
right?
technically took over like 2 or 3 weeks before.
Yeah, this is the
race
first
last
one they've
year.
had a chance to.
This is the first one they've had a chance to like do and direct, and PRN will be calling the race as opposed to MRN, like all of those things that come with SMI. This is the first year that that's in effect, and I think both groups do a great job with racing, but I think that fans will see a difference because they just have a different philosophy in how they tackle the fan experience, for lack of a better explanation.
Well, this is always this is exciting for Nashville or Gladeville, whichever you prefer, and NASCAR seems to like being here, and this is the third year I think that Nashville's had its race back, and doesn't feel like it's going anywhere anytime soon at this point.
No, NASCAR definitely wants to be in Nashville. Even before they started racing there, I know being in Tennessee that the folks in Nashville were always trying to get my help to get connected with people in Nashville for more racing coverage, to get things built up. They really wanted to put the banquet there. When it was there, they really have always wanted a race there. So, I don't see it going anytime soon. I think, what combination of the fairgrounds and eventually the super speedway, that will be is still up in the air. I think there's a chance at some point they could go to both races in a year. I mean, they go to lots of racetracks twice a year, so I don't know why you can go to the same metropolitan area, just 2 different tracks in 1 year. But yeah, I think NASCAR is definitely connected to Nashville and they want to stay there.
Heather Williams, our NASCAR analyst out of WCYB TV in Bristol, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, as she does virtually every Wednesday. Obviously, Heather, the big thing this week is, again, the Ally 400 coming up at Nashville, Gladeville. But this is a big week for a local driver, Hendersonville native Josh Berry. It was announced earlier today is going to replace Kevin Harvick in the number 4 car next season. No pressure there.
No pressure at all. But I mean, he's an older guy, he's an experienced guy. That's what, when I was finished up the announcement here, I mean, that was one of the things that Tony was talking about, is he likes the fact that, Josh is a little bit older and a little bit more experienced. And, I think that'll serve him well in taking over for a guy like Kevin. I mean, that organization really kind of needs an older guy, I think. There's a lot of talented guys in the organization, but they're pretty young, especially with Harvick leaving now and Amarola probably leaving soon. We were talking about the other drivers being Ryan Preece and Chase Briscoe, who are, relatively young drivers. So I think it'll be good. I think Josh is more than ready. He doesn't seem to, be easily slapped. He's the guy that stepped in the 9 car this year when Chase Elliott was hurt. If you can, get behind the wheel of the most popular driver in NASCAR's car and drive it around, I think you're really ready for about anything that comes your way.
Barry, 32.
Yeah.
So he's, like you said, got some experience. We're incredibly proud to have Josh Berry begin the next chapter of his racing career in our number 4 Ford Mustang, Stewart said. Kevin Harvick has obviously set a very high bar, but Josh brings maturity, experience, and above all, a winning record to Stewart Haas Racing. He is the right driver at the right time for the number 4 team in our organization. So I guess it had already been announced that this was going to be Harvick's last year then? Is that...
Yeah, they announced that over the off season, and then they announced that he's going to be joining Fox Sports next year as an analyst. Plus, he's really involved in his son Keelan, who's a really good racer, kind of getting his career off the ground. So Harvick's still going to have a lot of play. He's still going to be around. But yeah, it was announced I think in December, somewhere around January, something like that.
Barry stepped in for Chase Elliott when he had that broken leg earlier in the year, and also drove the 48 while Alex Bowman recovered from a back injury. So he's been in some Cup competition this year.
Yeah, and performed well. I mean, he raced his way into the All-Star race by winning the Open. You know, the 48 car was going to be in the All-Star race until Alex Bowman got hurt. So you talk about pressure. Here's a team that thought they were going to be in the All-Star race. Is it because their driver is injured and they've got a substitute driver who isn't a full-time Cup Series driver? So he has to race his way into the All-Star race, does it, sits on the front row of the All-Star Open, dominates the Open really, and races his way into the All-Star race. So, I mean, he knows what pressure is. He performed really well substituting in the 9 and the 48 this year. So, he knows how to make the best of the opportunities that are in front of him, and I expect this to be no different for him.
This is not the only news coming out of Stewart Haas Racing this week, Heather, as they did a little crew chief shuffling.
Yes, by necessity, I think, more than anything, but yes. Johnny Klossmeyer has been suspended for the penalties that they incurred on the 14 car. So they moved up the crew chief from the Xfinity Series, who was Chase Briscoe's Xfinity Series crew chief, and they did have a lot of success. I mean, I think this might have happened anyway, just because the 14 car was a playoff car a year ago, and this year they can't seem to get out of their own way. So reuniting those two, I think, is going to be really good for them. Just as far as maybe trying to get a little mojo back for Chase Briscoe. That combination of Briscoe and Klossmeyer, I mean, they are more than capable of winning races. They did last year. They were very competitive. They were one of the top guys in the first couple rounds of the playoffs, but they just haven't had it this year. So I think overall this will probably be good for them.
Interesting. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Who do we need to be looking out for, or what teams are going to run well at Nashville this weekend?
Well, I would say the Toyotas. They were very strong last year when we went to Nashville. I would keep your eye on Bubba Wallace. I think Bubba really feels like that was a race that got away from him, that he should have won Nashville last year. And so I think he will come in with that as his sole purpose to get the run that got away from him. So I would expect for him to be strong. He was running really well heading into the off week. And so, sometimes the break isn't good for teams like that, but I definitely think the Toyotas and specifically Bubba will be, at least going into the race, the ones to watch. Once they get on the track, they have a ton of practice, so it's going to be different from most weekends, because even if you show up to the track and you're not right on, you're going to have a lot of time to adjust on the car, because I think they have 50 minutes of practice, which they don't do that at all at races anymore. So somebody might sneak in and hit on something during practice and rock it to the front. But I think off the truck, the Toyotas are definitely going to be the ones to watch.
There you have it. Heather Williams here with us on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Heather, as always, we appreciate it. Enjoy your time at the, I guess, are you going to be putting your story together there at Charlotte Motor Speedway?
Yeah.
They are at Charlotte Motor Speedway, right?
I am. The media room is over there. That's where the press conference ended 2 hours ago. So they're tearing down now. That's why people keep rolling behind me. But Bob Hoppers, if you guys follow him, he has the notoriety of always being the best person out of every event. But I think I might beat him today. I'm trying to.
Well, good luck.
Hang on just a second. Before we let Heather go, something I saw on Twitter, I guess over the weekend maybe, and Heather, just wanted to get a quick thought from you. Kerry Tharp, who I got to know when he was working in athletics over at South Carolina years and years ago, but has spent more than 2 decades as president at Darlington Raceway, announced his retirement, I guess, last week.
Mm-hmm.
Kerry is one of the good guys that you'll ever come in contact with anywhere. And I'm just wanted to get a couple thoughts from you on that.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. So I'll share my Kerry story. He was working in NASCAR PR when I first got into covering racing 20 years ago. And Dale Jr.'s last race in the 8 car at Talladega, I was there with my big old camera by myself, like I always am, schlepping around, trying, and everybody, Dale had wrecked out of the race and everybody was trying to get interviews with him. So we're all waiting by his car hauler. Kerry walks up to me and he's like, "Are you by yourself?" I said, yes, sir, I am. He's like, "I'm going to bring Dale. I'm going to sit him right here in front of you." And he did. And I thought that was so cool because those people that have met me in person know that I am vertically challenged. So if I go get in the front row of an interview, I'm getting it. So for him to see that and be aware and help then, because this is almost 20 years ago, young reporter in NASCAR, out like that, I thought said so much about him and who he is, and he's been such an asset to the sport of NASCAR, both in his role as in PR for NASCAR and then at Darlington and promoting that historic track. He's going to be missed, but I know he's probably looking forward to not spending so much time at the racetrack.
Understandably so. Again, Heather Williams at WCYB_Heather joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Heather, as always, we appreciate you and look forward to getting your thoughts on this weekend next Wednesday.
Yeah, I wish I could come up there, but I'll be watching on TV and deep interest because I do love that area and I do love that track for sure.
Well, we wish we could see you as well, but we'll catch you next time.
Yeah,
And,
for sure.
Have a safe trip home from Charlotte.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Thank you. All right, we'll be right back to the Mobile Lee Company studio, Mo. And we'll be joined by Trevecca men's basketball coach Kevin Carroll when we come back on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Tired of hanging lights every year? We get it. That's why Southern Nights is here to help. We install programmable lighting on your home or business so you can enjoy beautiful, customizable lighting all year round. No more ladders, tangled lights, or cold nights outside. We do the work, you do the celebrating. Call Southern Nights today and take the hassle out of holiday lighting forever. For a free quote, give us a call at 931-241-3074 or visit our Facebook page at Southern Nights.
There is nothing better than drinking an ice-cold beverage while taking in a Nashville Sounds baseball game. Hi, I'm Stephanie Miller with Mornings on Main Street. The Nashville Sounds and Main Street Media Television have teamed up to promote Sunday Family Fun Day here at First Horizon Park each Sunday home game. Just go to your favorite Main Street Media website and click on Sounds Main Street Media Day banner to register to win free tickets. And then we'll see you here at the ballpark.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd, the goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Experience Predators hockey all season long. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets and join the Loyal Legion today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. And we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
I'm so excited about this new show.
Dino Trek is back again this year. It's bigger than we've ever had it before.
When they're about 5 months old, we'll start seeing them sticking their head out of a pouch, or you might see a foot come out or a tail.
It's like an Airbnb for Joey's. Now, you're not going to see all three of them together because cats in general don't get along unless it's time to get along, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Lions and tigers and bears.
Oh,
yeah.
my.
Well, we're 2/3 of the way there. It's animals, nature, and fun. That's what we're all about. But during that time, we hope that you also learn something, that you're inspired to want to learn something.
What's new at the zoo with Jim Bar 2.
Welcome back into Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We are in the Mobile Lee Company studio. It's Chris Yow and Mo Patton, and we are joined in the hot seat here by Trevecca Athletics Director Mark Elliott, and we appreciate your hospitality here. It's been a fantastic day and great show, great set, and love this gym.
It's a classic. I think you'd ask a lot of people who've played in here before, and they go, "This could be an intense place to play, right?"
Yeah.
It's not what we ultimately want. We want a bigger, nicer, newer place. That's what everybody wants, right?
Everybody wants, yeah. But here's the thing, though, Mark, because I remember, obviously I'm an MTSU graduate, and I covered MTSU a little bit, and I went up to Racer Arena up at Murray the last year, and then I went up to their new facility the first year, and I mean it didn't affect that basketball program because Murray State's Murray State, but I just felt like they gave up probably one of the biggest home court advantages, certainly in this area and possibly in the country, when they left Racer Arena. I mean, I think it's something to be said for
No doubt.
tight and small and loud.
Absolutely. I think so many people have given up that advantage because they wanted something bigger, nicer, newer. And while that's always nice, you can overdo it. And I think people at Thompson Bowling Arena found that out, right? They cut it back because they missed some things that they would have liked to have had. Yes, it was as big and as spacious and cavernous as rough,
Cavernous.
as rough, but it also was quiet and it didn't have the atmosphere. So yeah, anytime we want to build something new, and you take a look at schools like Liberty, like Auburn and Ole Miss, they built something that was smaller but more intimate to get that home court feeling. Yeah.
Mark, Kevin Carroll standing off to the side there. We're hoping to try to get him in before the end of the show as well. But you made a basketball coaching change late in the regular season, and ultimately it resulted in Kevin's arrival. And no pressure for him when you look at the women's basketball coaching change and how that worked out for you guys this year.
It worked out great. Not only did it work out great in the wins and losses, but just the class that Karen Booker brought into the program, and the name and what we wanted to have with our program was she just checked all the markers, right? And so we're really grateful for her work, grateful for Cyrus, her brother's work. The team just responded really, really well. So as you said, no pressure for Kevin, right, to do the same thing.
Right,
but,
right.
They went undefeated at home and made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament, which was a vast improvement. So we're grateful for her work and grateful that she's here at Trevecca.
And what's really fascinating about that, Mark, is, and you hear it so often in coaching circles, I hate the phrase, but she did that without her players. Mm-hmm. Now, to me, once you become coach, they're all your players.
That's true.
But certainly she only recruited a minimal amount of those kids. I mean, she had to adjust to them as much as they had to adjust to her. And to be able to have the success that they had in that year of adjustment, I just thought was really impressive.
It was, I'll bet you one thing that I think it was kind of maybe overseen a little bit is that, those players knew they were good. They knew they were good. And they were disappointed with the record that they'd had. Of course, they had a lot of things, all through COVID, the injury factor, the knees and the hip labrums and the concussions and things that mounted up against them that hurt them before. That didn't happen last year, right? And they knew coming into it that they were much better than what their record has shown. And I guess that snowball effect that happens when other teams don't think you're going to be that good. You're good enough. The schedule works to your advantage. You catch people at the right time. All of those things work together to create that really special year for us.
And as an athletic department coming off of a trip to the World Series in baseball a couple of years ago, and then to the NCAA women's basketball tournament, it just feels like Trevecca's got some momentum going right now, and that's got to make your job a little bit easier when folks obviously want to be at Trevecca because of the success athletics is having.
That's anybody would tell you as an athletic director. That's the kind of the culture that you want to eventually get to. But everybody's got a culture, and so what we're trying to work on in most of our programs is what is the identity that's going to bring that culture. If you're going to have a culture, let's define what that vision is going to be, what that identity is going to be. And we've decided it was going to be Christian scholar athlete, and we can recruit to that. It actually helps us. Some people would say, does that hurt you because you emphasize the Christian part first? No, it doesn't. It actually makes it easier for us to recruit because we can now target people maybe a little bit better instead of that shotgun approach where you just blow a shotgun out there. Now you're shooting with a long rifle. You're going to go pick that one, that one, that one, that one. So I think it actually kind of helps us. But the identity was there. The culture comes out of it, and the coaches have to buy into that identity. The players have to buy into that identity. And ultimately, that's what gives us our culture. So the culture right now, as you pointed out, Chris, is good. We always want to get better. We always want to get better players, et cetera, and perform better. But this is a good place to be right now. It really is.
Mark Elliott, the athletics director here at Trevecca Nazarene University, joining us on Main Street Sports today. And Mark, being here in Nashville, and you being a Vanderbilt graduate, you've been familiar with this city for a long time. How does that help Trevecca being here? I mean, when you look at all of the collegiate institutions that are here in this town, just from an athletic perspective, from a recruiting perspective, that kind of thing. You talk about Christian scholar athlete. How does Trevecca go about setting themselves apart, on the recruiting trail just within, say, an hour or so of this campus?
It's a great question, and we have thought about this an awful lot. To maximize who we are, yes, we want to accentuate Nashville. And look, behind us is the silhouette of this is the old skyline. It doesn't look like that anymore. We need to put a few cranes up here and things like that.
Yeah, you do need it. Yeah, you need a couple of cranes for sure.
But Nashville helps us without question. I tend to like the fact that Tennessee State, Vanderbilt, Belmont, Lipscomb are here because we can do this a little bit uniquely. We're the only Division II program within about 200 miles in any direction, right? And we know that Belmont and Lipscomb, they're recruiting on a little bit different level than what we are. But some of the athletes that are going into the lower levels of Lipscomb and Belmont in Division I, we're trying to convince them, come to Division II, play against really good competition in Nashville at a private Christian school where you can exceed and you can play. And that again, that's part of that long rifle attempt to recruit people who fit that mold as best as we possibly can. So yes, Nashville helps without question. It's the IT city. We have a great curriculum for majors, if that's where you want to come, and all the opportunities that Nashville gives you. A lot of people want to come. But I will tell you this, as we were trying to find basketball coaches, other coaches that we've hired, soccer coaches, etc. We do get an awful lot of coaches that basically say, "Oh, I've always wanted to coach college athletics and do it in Nashville, Tennessee." Well, I'm grateful for that, but I really don't care to further their career just because it's in Nashville. They have to want to come to Trevecca for what Trevecca stands for. And again, that goes back to the vision that we have and what we're trying to cast out as Christian scholar athletes. And when they understand that, this can be the right place for a lot of people, both athletes and coaches.
Well, as an alum of a small Christian high school, I understand exactly what you're talking about because, obviously it's a different culture and it's a different mindset at a private school, and the academic part of it is very, very important to places like yourself. I played a year at Huntington College in D3 in Montgomery, so it's kind of important to really know what you're getting into when you come to Trevecca as an athlete, but also as a coach. And so for what you guys do, it's really, you have to be selective. But the good part is not only are you selective with players, but you are selective with coaches. So that makes a lot easier.
They have to come with the same mindset. They really
Sure.
do. And no, not everybody here has to be a Christian. Not everybody has
Sure.
to be Nazarene. They're not. And yet they have to sort of understand that basic core fundamental that's who we are. So that's what we really try to preach here. Yeah, we're still going to win championships. That's without question. Kevin Carroll is here over in the wings over watching, and he wants to win a championship. I promise you.
Oh, there's no question. It's all about the rings.
But he can do it in a little bit unique way.
Absolutely. We're going to let you get out of the hot seat. We're going to try to bring him in if you want to pass the microphone over to him, and we'll see what we can squeeze out of your brand new basketball coach, Kevin Carroll.
Don't make him bleed now. Just get enough information out of it.
Just enough.
Just enough. That's right. Thank you for joining us, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Chris, Mo, good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
All right. We'll get Kevin over here and talk a little hoops with him. And this is exciting because this is a little unusual for us. It's kind of like SEC Media Day, though.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of musical chairs and you're perfectly fine. Coach, how are you?
Kevin, good to see you, man. Nice to meet you guys.
We are we're now joined again by Trevecca men's basketball coach Kevin Carroll. And Coach, thanks for joining us. How exciting is it to be getting ready for your first full year as Trevecca men's basketball coach?
Yeah, it's extremely exciting. Obviously, it's been it has been a hectic 2 months. I know that. It's pretty much waking up at 6 a.m. and going to bed at 12 and working every minute in between to try to build a roster, try to build a culture, try to create some enhancements here with facilities, looking towards the future. So. But really, really exciting. Really, really thankful for the opportunity.
Kevin, you were whose staff were you on? Lipscomb?
I was at Lipscomb, yes.
So you were at Lipscomb with
Lenny Acuff.
Now, had you been with him at UAH as well?
I had. So we go back close to 30 years, I guess now. So I've known Coach Acuff since I was 16 years old, and he recruited me, and I played for him at Berry College. For my freshman year of college, and then he left after that year to go be the head coach at Alabama Huntsville, which he was there for 22 years prior to going to Lipscomb. So he gave me my only college scholarship back when I was 18 years old. I was a high school head coach for a couple of years, and he gave me my first college assistant job, and he gave me the opportunity to come back to Nashville and kind of rebuild the Lipscomb program. 4 years ago. So he's obviously been someone who's meant a lot to me over my career, not just in terms of style of play and things of that nature, but more so just in terms of the things he's meant to me in my life.
When you talk about someone that you've known for that long, been around for that long, obviously you pick up a lot from him. What will we see out of Lenny Acuff on the floor here at Moore Gym this fall?
Yeah, I think the easy thing to see will just be a similar style of play. He's a legend in the coaching circles, and especially on the offensive end in terms of how his teams have always played. Always been one of the most efficient teams in the country on that end of the basketball for sure. So I think the easy thing is people say that, but more so, it's really just. The culture of the program and what it's based on and what it's built around. Those things are, the winning and the championships, and he's won over 600 games as a Hall of Fame coach. But really that's secondary to really the lives that he's impacted and changed, and that will be the mainstay of our program.
Now, when you look at this roster, and obviously you see the success that this team had late last year, obviously they had struggled most of the year, but they did have some success. Got a little momentum coming into this year. How do you feel like that plays into obviously your first year here?
Yeah, I think one thing the previous coaching staff did is they built a phenomenal culture of servanthood, a phenomenal culture of selflessness and unity. I think they were very young. Probably need to improve, some personnel at key positions or whatnot. But they created a real jumping on point for our team going forward. A lot of the same things that our culture is going to be based around and built around. I think there's just been, I think there's been a lot of excitement between the guys and our staff. I feel like we've all kind of hit it off pretty well. Of course, I haven't assigned who's starting and who's playing X amount of minutes and stuff like that. So everybody seems to like you when you haven't lost a game and you haven't played them and you're playing them, or not. So, but I think it's been just a really great, like I said, jumping on point thus far with what we're trying to build.
Coach, where do you feel like Trevecca fits in this conference right now? Do you feel like this is a program that's on the rise, or are you rebuilding? Are you trying to find, again, like you said with Mark Mo, your guys, or are these your guys?
No, they're all my guys. I mean, now we've brought in 7 new players thus far to our roster, so it will probably, some things will probably look a little bit different, and it'll be interesting to see, what it looks like in the fall when we get everybody here. There will probably be some change in roles, I would imagine, just from one year to the next. That usually is the case, and our ability to get our team unified, headed in the same direction, will ultimately determine our success this year. I have a and in today's college basketball, it's really hard to have a plan, because from one year to the next, so many things change. And probably my greatest strength could be my greatest weakness, in the sense that I have a pretty vivid plan of how I want to build this and what I want it to look like. When I was the head coach at Maryville, St. Louis, another Division II school in St. Louis, we played in that time in the top Division II league in the country, the Great Lakes Valley Conference, which now has 4 teams in that conference that are now Division I. And at that time, we were one of 4 Division II schools in the greater St. Louis area, and we were 1 year removed when I got there from transitioning from Division III to Division II. So the best players in St. Louis, best Division II players, had no interest in going to Maryville, and they had not had a lot of success. I think they won 3 games the year before I got there, and so we had to change that perception. We had to change. We had to have a plan on what we were doing, and by our 3rd year there, we'd won 23. We finished second in the division behind the team that won the national championship that year. We beat a team that had won the national championships 2 years prior. We had, won 20 games for the first time in 35 years at that school. We did some things, but it took a plan. It took guys buying into a certain culture. It took, finding that chemistry, that unity, that connectivity that goes into making something happen that hasn't happened before. And so when I was at Maryville, looking at Bellarmine, for example, who was in Louisville, the only Division II school in Louisville, looking at University of Indianapolis, only Division II school in Indianapolis, Lewis, only Division II school in another metro area, Chicago. I always used to say to myself, man, if you could just get to a Division II school where you're the only show in town, man, you can do some damage. And that's our goal here. That's our goal here.
Congrats, you found one.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and we're in one of the hottest cities in the country. I can't tell you how many guys who have probably in the past wouldn't have considered Trevecca have shown interest, and how many guys, I'm running a few minutes late here because we just had a kid in here for a visit who is a really good player. Can't talk about that legally, but I'm just saying, Nashville in particular, being a part of something, a vision that is greater than themselves, being a part of something that maybe 10, 15, 20 years from now, when they're coming back and their team's being introduced into the Hall of Fame for winning the most wins in the history of the program, those are the things that I think people are excited about, and that's what we have to sell here, we feel like.
Trevecca men's basketball coach Kevin Carroll here with us on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint in the mobile Lee Company studio live at Trevecca. And glad to have you guys with us on the show. And, Coach, thank you for taking some time with us today. We really appreciate it, and good luck in the upcoming season.
All right. We appreciate it, guys.
Thanks,
you.
Coach.
We'll take a break. When we come back, it is hopefully it's an NBA draft. We'll do our very best right here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint.
Coach, we appreciate you.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Welcome back to Today's Better Health. I'm Colleen Barton, and I'm here with Dr. Gil Kentoff and Dr. Wendy Toohey, and we're talking about the latest treatments in back and neck pain.
Many people, Colleen, come to see us with neck and back pain, and they develop tingling and numbness down the arm or lower back pain that develops into sciatica shooting down their leg. And for these patients, we have an advanced treatment technology, non-surgical decompression therapy that we really introduced to this area. It separates the vertebrae and creates a suction to allow fluids and nutrients back in to heal the disc naturally, relieving pressure on the nerve and on the joint. It's an amazing treatment.
We've been helping patients like this for the last 30 years, helping them get back to work, get back to their family, get back to the life they want to live.
I mean, it really is amazing. Technology helping us to live pain-free and better lives.
Right.
And I bet you have a special offer.
The first 25 callers will receive an examination, x-rays, review of our findings, and their first treatment, all for $39.
Call 615-551-3897 today to receive this special offer.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
June 21st, 1987. 2 brawls in 2 days? 2 brawls in 2 days. Reds outfielder Tracy Jones went out after he was struck by a Jim Acker pitch in the 8th inning, and Acker came down from the mound. Dugouts cleared yet again, but Cincinnati ultimately got the last laugh in a 6-5 10-inning victory over the host Braves. That was this day in Braves history.
There you have it. We will not have Braves chatter today because we had additional guests.
We had Trevecca chatter,
so
and it was good.
So now we go to the NBA draft set for tomorrow, and to talk a little bit about the draft, we have Landon SECREST joining us. Landon, what's up, man?
Nothing much. Ready to get this draft going.
The Spurs are on the clock. Is there any chance they don't take Wimbenyama? Wimby. Victor.
They better take Wembanyama, or it might be the biggest fumble in NBA history. That's all I have to say.
Well, the Spurs don't fumble. So
yeah, but they also do things their way. So who knows? But yeah, I think Wemby's the leader in the clubhouse.
Certainly the leader in the clubhouse. Okay, if Wemby is the leader in the clubhouse, who's two?
I think two is Nashville native Brandon Miller.
Okay,
I think he's 100% going to go two tonight to the Charlotte Hornets.
Now we have to talk about a tweet that I saw initially from you as we discussed Brandon Miller, the former Cane Ridge standout who spent the one season at Alabama this past year. And he said he does not think LeBron James is the GOAT. And I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, that's not the part.
That's fine if you think LeBron James is not the GOAT. It's not fine if you think Paul George is.
Yeah, I see where he was going with that. I mean, I guess
then tell me. Explain it to me like a fifth grader.
But I mean, if your GOAT is Paul George, I mean, you're in bad shape as a basketball junkie. I think there's only 1, 2, maybe 3 choices for that question. And Paul George isn't one of them usually. So that kind of caught me off guard today when Brandon Miller said Paul George is his GOAT.
You and everyone else.
What? And I mean, I didn't dive any further into it than your tweet, like I said, because it just didn't feel like it was worth the effort. But what was his explanation?
He said that he personally doesn't think LeBron is his GOAT. And I guess he was aiming towards, I model my game after this certain player. So instead of saying he's my favorite player, he framed Paul George as his GOAT, which, we've all seen how that's gone. That's not something you say when, the likes of Jordan is potentially going to draft you and LeBron James is still playing. And, Paul George is not in that conversation.
Now, well, here's the thing is I don't guess Michael Jordan is going to be drafted.
I don't know if he's going to be drafted or not. Maybe he was trying to talk his way out of going to Charlotte.
Hey, we've seen that happen before.
Because Jordan might have taken that personally.
Charles Barkley tried to do, some sneaky stuff to not get drafted by Philadelphia, and they drafted him anyway.
Yeah.
So you never know.
But if Brandon Miller winds up in Charlotte, Landon, what does that look like, do you think?
I think it'll be a great place for him just because he can create off the dribble, and obviously he can shoot. But I see that the Charlotte Hornets don't have a wing that they can rely on as far as shooting wise. But I guess LaMelo Ball in the backcourt. Obviously, we know what he's going to do. He's going to provide all the flash. But Brandon Miller can be the laid back guy who can get buckets for you, and hopefully he can defend too, because we know LaMelo Ball doesn't really do that, and he takes wild shots. So Brandon Miller is going to be the complete opposite of that. Chill, getting buckets, and hopefully providing some defense to the Charlotte Hornets too.
So is he kind of going to be a point forward kind of guy then in that situation?
I feel like in the directions that the Charlotte Hornets are going in, I think that he can develop, if his favorite player is Paul George, he should be able to create a little bit off the dribble and, create shots for other and kind of form into that playmaker as his career progresses. So I think so. That's a potential thing on the board for him.
Landon SECREST at Seco_sports, I believe.
Yes.
On Twitter. Landon, a lot of rumors flying out there. What's the one rumor that you're putting stock in right now?
I really honestly think that it revolves around the third pick. I really think that, the Blazers, if Wemby goes 1 and Brandon Miller goes 2, that leaves a great consolation prize for Scoot Henderson at 3. But I think that, the Blazers have Dame. I know Scoot Henderson is probably in any other draft would be in the conversation to go 1, but I would probably deal him for a star player, whatever package you can get. That might be the direction that the Blazers want to go to kind of satisfy Dame, but who knows? I think that's a situation to monitor, though. I think I saw a report a few minutes ago that they've shut down all talks around the third pick, but once they pick Scoot, they might start back up.
And you again, I follow you on Twitter, Landon. You tweeted something the other day, maybe Monday, regarding Dame Lillard to Miami and Tyler Hero going the other way. Portland's not going to trade Damian Lillard, are they?
I think they're really, it's going to take, I don't know what trade package at this point, what offer to get him out of there. I mean, we saw that, the Heat were unsuccessful in terms of, getting Bradley Beal. They weren't interested in him. I guess they're putting all their eggs in the basket of Damian Lillard, but what's it going to take to get him? Is it going to take a star plus another mid-level star plus some picks? I mean, there's rumors that, Toronto may be involved. What's going to be the package that gets Dame out of there, or gets Dame some help to Portland? I'm interested in.
It just feels like he's really committed to staying in Portland now. I mean, if they move him, then they move him. But it feels like he's one of the last holdouts in terms of, he wants to spend his career there, and hopefully they can get good around him. Is that doable?
I think, when they had the third pick on the table, I thought they would go in the direction of trading it, getting whatever star they could get, packaging it away with an Anthony Simons. Now, if you think about it, they draft Scoot Henderson, they have a Dame Lillard, Scoot Henderson, and an Anthony Simons, who's a guard in the backcourt, who's shown flashes that he can be a good player, but that's 3 good guards on the team, and one of them's probably going to have to come off the bench, and that's not a situation you want to be in necessarily, guards completing for playing time in the starting lineup and off the bench. But I think that, they need to mix it up, get them maybe a power forward or a center, whoever is available on the market, to get him at least somebody that he can compete with in the Western Conference.
Landon, obviously there's a lot of excitement around Brandon Miller, the former Cane Ridge standout, going number 2. On your campus, there's a little buzz around Ben Shepherd. What?
I had a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Who goes first, Ben Shepherd or Julian Phillips?
I think it's Ben Shepherd.
Really?
I think so too. That's why I was like, "Oh man, I want to get that answer on record."
All right. Expound on that. NBA expert Landon SECREST.
Yes.
I think seeing Ben, watching the combine this year and seeing his, ability to create, like I've said about Brandon Miller, that potential to create as a long, lengthy defender also. And, being on offense, shooting the ball, I believe he shot, near 40% behind the 3-point line. Seeing that potential, it's kind of got teams excited for him. So I would say, I don't think Ben is going to go lottery, but, after the lottery ends at 14, I would say, keep your eyes on the draft just to see somebody might, move up. Somebody might shake things up to, get somebody like a Ben Shepherd. There'll be plenty of good players still on the board, but I think he's going to be in the mix from 14 to 30 on.
And to Chris's question, what do you think about Julian Phillips and his prospects?
I would say, he's going to be in that same area of, mid-level, mid-first round. But, there's plenty of teams right in that mix. I can think of the Hawks, the Warriors, the Pacers. I think they just traded their picks to the Nuggets. But, there's plenty of decent teams that'll put a player in a good situation. I think that's what's great about the late first round, that you won't necessarily be going to a horrible team. And I think that's a good situation for Julian, being from a Tennessee team that's good, has been in the mix, and he won't be going to a horrible situation where he has to kind of retract everything that he's been developing so far.
Makes a lot of sense. I'm always intrigued by the NBA draft because there are so few players that are involved in the NBA draft. So it's always interesting to see, what players end up having to find their way somewhere else, or they say, I don't know that playing, being a second round pick for the whomever, the Spurs or whatever, is a great fit. Maybe I go overseas, whatever, stuff like that. So the drama really gets going kind of after the draft with those second round guys, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it really gets going, and they incorporated the rule a few years ago where I believe if you're undrafted, you can kind of go back to college if you don't have an agent. But, weighing the options of seeing, do I want to be in this situation? And, weighing my options of going overseas, playing in a European league or playing someone else and really honing in your skills. But also now, there's the G League route, with the two-way contracts and kind of so many opportunities to develop. But I think there's a lot of good talent, later on in the draft this year, players that may not be ready this time around, but, maybe 2 years away that they can develop and kind of be like a prospect type player, a project type player as well.
Hey, one more thing before we let you go. What do you see out of Memphis tomorrow night?
I was really monitoring that situation because, Ja is going to be gone for 25 games. And now that I've heard that they're exploring trade options for Tyus Jones so that he can get a starting role maybe in the league. So I don't know what direction they go in at 25, but I would say, they need to replace someone like a Dylan Brooks out on the wing, and they definitely need to find a point guard, to run the show. If Tyus isn't going to be there and Ja's not going to be there, they at least need to have somebody to start, whether that's Marcus Sasser or somebody like that.
Replace Dylan Brooks? You mean Dylan Brooks isn't going to be back after poking the bear?
I don't think so, Mo.
Yeah, go figure, huh?
What do you replace Dylan Brooks with? That's the question.
Somebody who can keep their mouth shut and play.
Well, I mean,
100%.
obviously, if they can't shoot, you're not losing anything. So there's that.
Right.
So you just got to find somebody who can play defense. I don't know. It should be interesting. Obviously, Memphis is a unique situation because they've got to deal with 25 games without their best player. So, Landon, we appreciate you taking time with us. Looking forward to the NBA draft. Should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to talking with you again soon. Hopefully we can get some reaction from you next week sometime.
Thank you so much, Chris and Mo.
Thanks, man.
All right, man. All right. I don't see intern 2.
He's lurking.
Intern 2. There he is.
See? Told you.
He's lurking. Grab that headset and come sit down, my friend.
Yeah, it's
time. It's wild and wacky time.
It's time.
Listen. This is former intern 2 Lawson Smith joining us. Going from Landon to Lawson is very difficult in my brain. I just want you to know that. I almost called him Landon again. But Lawson has long been a staple on Wild and Wacky Wednesday. And so, I got to turn you up. That's right. I apologize. I had to turn it down a minute ago. But yes, your triumphant return now to Wild and Wacky Wednesday, and you've got a heck of a story for us.
Yes, I can see his screen.
Oh gosh, here we go.
It's triumphant. All right, the floor is yours.
I got this with the assistance of my boss, Greg Ruff, and it's been a rough day for Stephen F. Austin Bowling, as this morning their bowling assistant coach is out of a job after it came out that he had a relationship with a student athlete. It only gets worse when it came out that his wife is actually the head coach of the bowling team.
Can we just talk about the headline from the local paper, though?
I'm trying to find it.
Spare relationship
causes awkward split.
Maybe the headline writer of that took the week off.
That's what they said. At _ Danny Davis, headline writer took the rest of the week off after publishing this one.
It only gets worse when you see his response.
Oh, yeah, this is fantastic. You got to tell us this one.
I knew it was kind of a no-no, but there's not a rule saying that it can't happen. There's not a law saying that I'm going to jail for doing something like this. There's nothing in stone. I guess it's just an ethics code. Like, we frown upon it. But
okay,
no
first
rule.
of all, it is in fact etched in stone. Literally, thou shalt not covet was etched into a stone tablet.
I'm just telling you this. I hope he's got a good attorney, because losing his job ain't the worst of his issues.
Nope. 12 years ago, Mo, was the infamous motorcycle accident. And just so happens, I don't know if you guys know this, but the rest of that story is the volleyball player or assistant, whatever she was, ended up marrying the fiance, and they now have 3 kids. Despite motorcycle gate.
Oh no.
So I'm just saying this may not be terrible.
Must be love.
It must be love.
Goodness.
It must be love.
Go ahead.
Straight as an arrow, fly like a dove.
Got a second one? All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Headline for this one: Caught with his pants down, Florida man's awkward arrest takes an unexpected turn. Florida man David Romero, who had a warrant out for his arrest for on third-degree grand theft charges, was arrested in a Target parking lot.
Of course, it was Target.
And when the deputies ordered him to step out of his truck, he
was pantsless.
No, his pants came down
because nobody wants to fight the naked man.
Even worse, some of the shoplifted contraband fell out of his pants.
Oh,
and
that's
he
brutal.
was caught on camera stuffing his pants with products from the Target.
That's brutal. That's brutal.
Always
Man,
Florida,
dadgum Florida, man.
Always.
Well, I think my favorite story this week is actually Kentucky man.
Oh, really?
Or former Kentucky man.
Okay.
Born and raised in Kentucky in 1963, a state that has been recently leaning toward more liberal values, we might add, Jamie, a divorcee, father, grandfather, and proud owner of a few lots in the trailer park, had enough and up and died on us on June 14th in order to avoid another presidential stolen election mishap in the near future. As a gluttonous eater of fried foods and snack cakes, as well as the occasional chili cheese dog, James tried in vain to give up the ghost by clogging his arteries and having a stroke in 2015. His twin boys, Rocky and Rodney, had other plans and made him go to the hospital. While waiting in the ER at the hospital, he was heard saying, "Let's make a break for it," only to be heard by the hospital staff and forced to go through the procedure. He wasn't too excited about the prospect, but went anyway. On many occasions in life, James was seen in his backyard at the trailer park during the early hours of the morning, hammering beer, standing over the country-style ribs and yelling, "It's got a head like a cat on it," while nearby neighbors would peek out their windows bearing looks of disgust and amazement as his party guests were slurring remarks about needing to speed up his cooking style. "We've been here since 5 o'clock. We've got work in the morning." We don't know if he was married, but definitely was a ladies' man. There was Kathy, Mary Lou, Tammy, Deborah, Carrie, Tina, etc., etc. "It's the bones," he told us as he proudly pointed to his skinny, pasty white legs. "Women love a good shin." We think he might have even had some females waiting for him on the other side. Jamie loved his family more than anything else in the world except ice cold Busch Light, room temperature Busch Light, a T-Bones, New York Strip, prime rib, swimming, poker, hatchback, Mustang, GTs, tank tops, Kentucky men's basketball, and his personal copy of Eddie Murphy's Raw. He leaves behind his second favorite son, Rocky, and Elizabeth Lovelace of Arizona City, and his favorite son, Rodney Lovelace of Science Hill, Kentucky, a younger brother, Joey, and an unofficial daughter, Melissa, of the trailer park, as well as a pair of old boxers which have Budweiser, the King of Rears, printed on the design. He will be moderately missed.
Moderately.
I love that.
I'll give you guys the guess on who wrote the obituary.
It's got to be the second favorite.
The favorite son, Rodney, of course. Yeah, so, well, yeah, I guess.
The fact that he has to label the second favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, man, James Lovelace. May he rest in moderately missed peace. And may you guys have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow on Main Street Sports Today. Mo, we've got who have we got tomorrow?
We've got tomorrow?
Matt DiBenedetto
Right.
of Rackley Roofing and the Truck Series. So we'll talk a little more NASCAR tomorrow. It'll be the Truck Series, Craftsman Truck Series. We should probably mention that. Otherwise, you get in trouble.
Yeah.
And we'll have Coach's Corner as well. So plenty of exciting stuff coming your way tomorrow and, of course, on Friday. Looking forward to another busy second half of the week here on Main Street Sports Today. Lawson, thanks for taking time with us today, and make sure to go check out the track and field stuff on TNUtrojans.com or .edu.
.com.
Yeah, TNUtrojans.com.
It's been hammered into my brain.
Hammered.
The past 2 years.
Just we like that.
We kind of like to hammer some stuff into your brain too.
No question. But appreciate you taking some time with us today. And thank you guys for watching us. We say goodbye from the Mobile Lee Company studio here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, live from Trevecca Nazarene University. We'll see you guys tomorrow.